Here's a hypothetical situation for you. Let's say you're watching an episode of CSI on television, and Grissom phones into Sarah to get the results of a DNA test on the victim of a very suspicious fall. Well, the results are being fed to the printer when all of a sudden, zap, nothing happens. It turns out the printer cable is on the fritz, and the episode ends with another nail-biting cliffhanger. Does that sound like real life or fiction? The point is, if that cable had been assembled here at Cable Technologies, Inc. of Arlington, Texas, the cable would have been fully tested before leaving here. It would not have failed. It would have worked. It is a fact, since the very beginning of this company, every cable assembly that can be tested has been virtually 100% tested electronically before being shipped. And that's a company policy whether the customer asks for it or not. It's just one of the big advantages of working with this company. To learn more about this unique organization, we sat down for a conversation with the co-founder and CEO of this firm, Martha O'Brien.
We are a service company. I mean, we put together wires and connectors and kit up different items for our customers, but those customers can be anybody that needs help making their product run more smoothly. Because if our customer is lying down or they need something, then we put it together per their specs and sell it to them. We get it to them on time. The service is, I think, the key part of it. If we say we're going to do something, we do it.
Besides just the value that they bring as far as cost, the quality has been very good for us. In our application, our cables are subject to a lot of stresses, physical stresses, a lot of chemicals, a lot of environmental stresses. And when I came to Cable Technologies, I had an initial design, but it wasn't very cost-effective or producible. And Cable Technologies took that cable, or took my design, and really reworked it, looked at all the details, and came out with a very nice, producible design, but also one that is very rugged for my environment. We sent out about 20 different RFQs around the country. We broke it down to 3 different companies in the local Dallas area. We went out and did plant tours with all 3 of them, and with the Cable Technologies guys, looked at my drawings, had all kinds of ideas on how to make the cables better, and we finally just narrowed it down to Cable Technologies.
What makes us unique is our flexibility and our response time. In our industry, our customers are going to deal with a 4 to 6 week lead time, when the bottom line is that cable assemblies in the design process are typically the last thing thought of. An engineer will design a box that's going to perform some kind of function, will have circuit boards in it, and at the last minute they go, oh, this jumble of wires that we have connecting our boards needs to be turned into something producible. That's when we get the call, and it typically comes with, we'd like to have one next week. Okay, we can do that. That's where we set ourselves aside from many of our competitors.
Give me a list of the potential ways, the many potential ways, that these products could end up being used.
We recently had someone that was agriculture related, which was very interesting. They do the crops out in the fields and the watering that they do and the fertilizer and the really big machines. Well, they're starting to make that more into an electronics. You see a lot of electronics out in more of the hard industries that you wouldn't have thought of, the more mechanical, say oil and gas. There's electrical wiring downhole to do the metering of testing of different things in the field. So that's one of our customers, the cellular towers. We do some of the infrastructure products in that for mobile phones. The products we're doing here could end up in a radio. It could wind up in the Hubble telescope. We've done something for that. They're everywhere. When the assembler gets it in a kit form and has a print that says this is how it's put together, or a sample they can look at, then they are still putting it together from the beginning to the end, and then it gets tested 100% electronically.
I've been so impressed with the level of customer service at Cable Technologies. The people are great to work with. They're fast. They respond well to our ever-dying need to have things every day, all day. They go beyond the limits of a normal company. I work with the same people, so they know the requirements that we need, and they're also very helpful. They go far and beyond the call of duty. They bring parts to our office after hours, which is very important sometimes, especially when you need to get a customer taken care of that day or the next day early in the morning. We really appreciate people's dedication to their work. They are in tune to our needs. They really listen and they help even with designs and things like that to get us working.
What do you think it is, from your perspective, that makes this company so unique?
I think what makes us unique is service. Anybody can sell a cable, we sell service. We're very proud of the service we offer our customers and the quality. We don't just supply the cable. We have some customers that say, hey, we're going to put this in a box with our end product and we're going to have to put in some nuts and bolts and tie wraps or brackets. And we said, let us do that for you. So we provide that extra service. It's less for them to have to buy. It's less for them to have to manage. It's something that we're good at. You know, the staff is good at sourcing things. We have some good sources for materials, and we're good at controlling materials and making sure we have what we need so that we can support them when they get the drop-in requirements. A lot of times they don't plan like they should, so we have to plan for them. When it comes to labor, we'll do whatever we need to do. Well, we always like to under-promise and over-deliver. You know, it's a cliche, but it's true. It's probably the most important thing we do.
Explain a little bit to me about the advantage of onshore, here in this country, assembly versus going abroad.
It has to do with being here. I mean, for one thing, you've got the transit time, you've got the cultural differences of trying, and especially with the cable assembly. I mean, people look at that, engineers and buyers, and think, oh, it's just a cable assembly. But I cannot tell you how many times a cable assembly can go wrong for a customer. I mean, just reversing the wires is going to blow up something in their system. So by having somebody onshore that you can call and talk to and work through, we can do stuff here domestically very easily. Even if they're in New York or California, it's like, let us build you a sample and send it and plug it in and see how it works.
How important is the ISO certification that you have?
That is very important. It means that we're a quality organization and that we meet certain international standards. And I knew that we had a quality product, and we've always prided ourselves on building something and doing it right the first time. We do something with DNA testing machines. That was pretty cool to see that on a show, knowing that our equipment or our wiring went inside of there. Engineers for these different companies will give us a call and say, hey, we need some help. From a service standpoint, we may buy things that are not really related to our business, but they go with the cable assembly, and it helps the customer if it all comes in one little box, and that way they don't have to worry about ordering those parts and stocking them. They look to us for our experience more than anything, and we try and be practical when we tell them how to do something. You know, we don't design the product for them, but we definitely make suggestions.
And there you are, an inside look at the very interesting story of Cable Technologies, Inc. I'm Doug Llewelyn, reporting from Arlington, Texas.
Well, that does it for this edition of Close Up on America's Business. I'm Janice Marie. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.